Hi, this is Joan, and I'm back with a few more words of wisdom, I hope. In my last video, we were talking about what I call playing three-corner catch with spirit, which means being an intermediary. Spirit has tried to get a message through to someone else, and they couldn't get it through for whatever reason, and so they need somebody in a meat suit to relay the message, and they've chosen you. And I tell these stories not because I think that they're fabulous examples of psychic phenomena. They're not. They're exactly the opposite. They are examples that are very common, but often overlooked examples of working with spirit. So here's another one. And this one involved someone that I knew for many, many years, a woman who I'm going to call Dana. And she had, after many years, she was getting older and she contracted an illness and sadly died. And I went to her funeral and I'd written a little tribute in the online obituary that they had run. And several weeks after her passing, after the funeral, I got a call from someone who had seen that little online tribute and had looked at what I'd written and saw my name and looked me up and gave me a call. And right away, I knew that this was something different. This was not an ordinary occurrence. And I had the feeling that this was spirit inspired. And what it was, she told me that she was Dana's daughter, the daughter that Dana had given up for adoption at birth. And I had never heard this before, but I think that she had found Dana after tracking her down, maybe through DNA or something like that. And she said before Dana got, her final illness, they had been in touch and they had been corresponding, but they hadn't met in person yet. And she had just been beginning to get to know who her birth mother really was. So anyhow, she asked me some questions and I filled her in as much as I could. I told her what a wonderful woman her mother was and how important she'd been in my life. But what I didn't tell her was Dana was perhaps the most exceptional and powerful psychic medium I have ever known in my life up to today, and how she had helped me for decades. I've been consulting her for decades. And I didn't tell her this because it became apparent in conversation that this message would not have landed well with this person. It became apparent that she was a conservative Christian, and that was not my story to tell. So anyhow, she told me that she didn't want to get in touch directly with Dana's immediate family because she didn't know whether they were even aware of her. So I was the go-between, literally. And so I told her I would get in touch on her behalf and get back in touch with her and let her know what happened. So I contacted the family and they said, yes, we knew about this. Just give us her information and we'll be in touch when we feel up to it. And I felt so much better. I got in touch with that woman again and let her know she could expect some form of communication. And I was very grateful to have played a part. And I thought, I wonder if that was inspired by spirit or by Dana herself. And I thought, yeah, probably yes. And I wonder if they had inspired this woman to read and respond to my particular online tribute among all of them that were there. And I thought, probably yes. But it just made me feel good that I could do this one last little thing for Dana after she had done so much for me in my life. And that made me feel good. And let's see, I've got one more story. I've got notes over here, so I'm changing the page. I'm being completely upfront. Okay. So this is one more story about playing three-corner catch with spirit. And it's a little bit different because of the way the message came to me. This time it came to me in a dream, in a recurring dream. And I usually don't dream at all, remember my dreams at least. And the only recurring dreams that I can remember other than this series are the ones where, I haven't studied and it's the day of the final and I haven't been to class or read the book. So except for those anxiety dreams, this is the only recurring dream that I have a memory of. And it was so wonderful. It was a dream of music. beautiful orchestral music. At night, I'd go to sleep and I would hear this wonderful heady music, and I wouldn't just hear it. I saw the score being written out, note by note, as each note sounded. And not just the melody, everything. There was the line for the violins. There's the line for the brass. Here's the line for the percussion and the woodwinds and everything. And I'd never seen, probably to this day, I've never seen an orchestral score, but there it all was, as each note sounded. All the dynamics were in there, the clefs, the sharps, the flats, everything. It was a complete orchestral score. Oh, so wonderful. And this was, pre-computer days, personal computer days, decades before the software that now, where you can just like play a song into a microphone and it immediately writes out the score for you. So it was pretty amazing. And what would happen would be I would wake up in the morning with the last note still ringing in my ears. And it was just like if you were going to hear a symphony in a concert hall, the last note of the last movement, how it just hangs in the air, and you hear the overtones and you can just almost see the reverberations. And it was like that when I woke up. It was so beautiful. And I'd go scurrying around trying to find a piece of paper and a pen to try and write out the few notes of the melody that I might be able to remember. But it was like trying to hold water in your hands. I could never do it. So this went on for quite a while. And at the same time, I was a senior in college at this time, and I was an intern at a art museum in town that had a performing arts department. And one of the things I did was interview the various artists and performers that they would have and write little articles about them that we'd then try to get placed in the local press. And this, again, being pre-computer times, I would have to mail the article I'd write to the performer for their okay before they, so they would sign off on it before we sent it out for placement. And one of the people that I interviewed and wrote a little story about was a composer of new music. And when I got her address to send her the article to check over, it turned out that she lived 2 doors down from me. So then it all made sense. That music wasn't for me, it was for her. They were sending her a symphony. And she was probably busy with other inspiration or other things. So Spirit looked around and thought, who else around here knows how to read music? And they saw that, well, Joan played clarinet in high school, and she had a couple of years of piano. Might as well give it a try. So I received this inspiration. I received her symphony. And I felt so bad that I just wasn't up to the task. And I didn't tell this woman about this. She remains a respected composer of new music in this community and gets commissions all over the world. And I wasn't about, at 23 years old or whatever I was, to tell her that, I was sent the overload of your inspiration. But just a couple of years ago, a mutual acquaintance of ours passed away. Sorry about so much death here, but this happens. It's part of the whole thing for all of us. And I thought, I don't want her or me to pass without passing this information on to her. So I just wrote her a note and let her know. And once again, I never heard back from her, but I finally threw the ball into her court, and she can make of it what she wants to. But anyhow, I hope those stories get you thinking about times in your life when you were playing three-corner catch and received something from Spirit and were the messenger who got it to the person that they intended to send it to you. And think about how that felt and how it was different than normal thoughts and feelings and dreams. And just like you can ask Spirit for a message, like send me a bird or show me a feather or a butterfly or a coin, you can ask Spirit to be of use. You can say, make me an instrument of your peace, or you can just say, I want to play three-corner catch. Put me in, coach. And when you get the assignment, be grateful that you get picked for the team, and remember to play your position and don't hog the ball. Always get the ball to the other player, to the intended recipient of the message, and have a good time doing it. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye now.